Build your house on the rock. Why? Because the sand is unstable. It shifts. And you cannot build a foundation on shifting ground. But what if the entire world order was built on shifting sand? What would that look like? It might look like an unraveling. It would look like an extreme spectacle. We would see the dismantling of our traditions, of our cherished ideals. We would see everything degenerate, be debauched, perverted, or outright destroyed. What foundation is our world order built on? What is the most important layer of human society? What is the one thing we all need in order to survive? It's something we live for. We spend most of our time trying to obtain it. Some even die for it. Money. It is the foundation of modern civilization, underpinning virtually every aspect of human society, including trade, commerce, governance, and social organization. Its presence and importance make it a fundamental layer of human interaction and progress. Our modern world is built on the fiat monetary system. Just over 50 years old, this experiment might be seen by our descendants as one of the cruelest and most dark times in human history. A time when humanity was ruled by a system of money rooted in lies and deception. During this period, humanity was also kept in darkness with respect to their spiritual identity. A time when men declared themselves as gods and began to decree reality with mere words. A time when humanity's energy was robbed by a small group of godless men who served dark spiritual powers. Since the current monetary system is rooted in deception, in evil, Christians and people of faith should be aware. I'm talking about this chapter in human history where we're caged in the fiat matrix. While being caged, we're being robbed of our efforts, our stored human energy. And this is the most important thing to understand. The current monetary system is built on lies, and its main objective is to steal. Money printing is theft. It dilutes the purchasing power of everyone holding the currency in a clever and deceptive way. The amount of money in your account or under your mattress remains the same, but it purchases less. Every day it decreases. Every year. Like a melting ice cube, it continues to evaporate until it is worthless. The cost of living from the 1930s to 2024 has increased substantially. The average income in the 1930s was around $1,300 per year, and a new house was $4,800. Decade after decade, the dollar continued to lose value. In the 1960s, a new house was around $12,700. In the 1970s, a new home was $23,700. In 2024, a new home is over $400,000. Many people conclude the price of real estate is going up, but in fact, the value of money is going down. The purchasing power of the money is decreasing, so it requires more dollars to purchase the same asset decade after decade. Why would it require more money to purchase the same asset or commodity? Today's money has nothing backing it. There is no value behind it. On the contrary, it is actually decreed into existence by creating debt. That's right. To get $1, you have to create a dollar loan. Money is born by creating debt. There are no limits to how much debt they can create. Currently, there's over 300 trillion in global debt. 300 trillion. This number is unfathomable. In this way, our money is a lie. The only thing sustaining it is faith. Faith in the state. Deceit, theft, faith in the state. Did you realize we were all part of such a system? One might believe, "Thou shalt not steal," but we are forced to hold and use a fiat money that is based on theft. Thereby, we are complicit to theft. We comply in order to survive, of course, but it is theft nonetheless. One may not agree with a particular state activity, like a war, that will no doubt lead to death and destruction, but as hostages in the fiat matrix, we're forced to pay the invoice for the death and destruction, even if it takes generations to pay it. It wasn't enough for the monetary system to be built on lies and deception. It's much worse. Governments were not satisfied with merely stealing from their citizens for generations through the debasement of money. They went further and got more sinister. They took the monetary system and weaponized it against their citizens. Since they can print unlimited money, they prioritize maintaining the special power. So they print money in order to manipulate and deceive society. This is how you get some of the absurd ideas being forced on humanity. Freshly printed money is used to wage psychological operations on people in order to shape their thoughts and perceptions. This is how the fiat matrix was created, a cage of control in which humanity is stored while their energy is siphoned. And when you begin to understand the intricacies of this system, you realize it is immoral. And it is against this immoral and deceptive system that Bitcoin declared war in 2009. And since this system is immoral, and because it is imposed on us by the governments, the kings of the earth, the Bible explains that the kings of the earth are ruled by Satan. Because of these reasons, Christians should be very, very interested in the sudden appearance of a technological tool that identifies this problem and proposes an unstoppable, decentralized solution to destroy the immoral, tyrannical system imposed by Satan's puppet governments. The church seems to be missing it completely. They fail to see the moral and spiritual implications of our current monetary system, designed as a deceptive tool of control. Therefore, they cannot possibly see Bitcoin as an opposing force, a redeeming force that aligns with biblical ideals. Christian leaders and experts spew some of the most ignorant and foolish ideas about Bitcoin that only expose the fact that they either have not taken the time to study Bitcoin or they lack the wisdom and intelligence to do so. The church doesn't seem to recognize the signs and symbols of our day. This might be one of the consequences of modern Christianity. All of the hidden meaning and mystery has been stripped away under the fear that it represents the occult. Without hidden meanings, without signs and symbols, we're left with a psychological or cultural ideology that is easily manipulated by the state. Without being anchored to something esoteric or spiritual, one becomes susceptible to deception, to preconditioning, to brainwashing. Part of this manipulation is evident in the fact that most people are unaware of the fundamental aspects of the monetary system. This information was not taught in schools. In fact, we are intentionally miseducated about money. We are led to believe that money printing is the solution to every problem and not the main cause. People need to be manipulated in order to accept a lie. Otherwise, no one would accept the idea of exchanging worthless paper for goods or services which require labor to produce. Is why Bitcoin is more than just a digital asset. It's an ideology, a philosophy based on the divine order we see in the natural world, based on mathematics. It's linked to the physical universe through proof of work. And this is one of the most unique aspects of Bitcoin. While it's true it is a digital asset, it has no physical body, but it is linked to the physical world. And it's linked to the physical world in a very unique way. And that is called proof of work. It's a method of verifying transactions. And Bitcoins are created by effort being put forth by computational power using electricity. Which is energy. So Bitcoin takes energy and it gives it a body in cyberspace. It allows you to store that energy. And through that energy, you're able to maintain value in a way that is in complete opposition to the current system in which value is decreed into existence based on debt, the creation of debt, based on the decree of an individual or a group of people, a government. Proof of work forces you to comply with the rules of nature, with the rules of the universe, with the laws of thermodynamics. It links Bitcoin, a digital asset, to the physical world. So if Satan is the ruler of this earth, the ruler of this domain, as the Bible teaches, then imposing limits on state power is critical, because politicians and governments become puppets of Satan, of principalities, of higher spiritual powers. So having a government with the ability to print money and create unlimited value is a very dangerous thing, and it's a thing that should be concerning to all Christians. For 5,000 years, the world operated on a gold standard. Under this system, the value of a country's currency was either made of gold or directly linked to a specific amount of gold. Governments agreed to convert paper money into a fixed amount of gold upon demand. The gold standard was meant to provide a stable currency value, control inflation, and facilitate international trade by providing fixed currency exchange rates. Governments were limited by the amount of gold that they had. They could not wage endless war. To get more gold, they would have to mine it. Mining gold requires work, effort. The work and effort combined with the scarcity of gold gives it value. This was the previous world order. In 1971, the United States ended the gold standard. Richard Nixon announced the dollar link to gold would temporarily be suspended. This means the US dollar was no longer convertible to gold at the established rate of $35 per ounce. Here again, we see the signature of the deceiver in the form of lies. The dollar is still not backed by gold. For the last 50 years, the international monetary order has been based on a currency that is not backed by anything, a currency that has no value, a currency that requires faith in the state to operate. To understand how we got here, let's go back to World War II. Through its intervention, America is credited with helping the Allies win World War II. This victory resulted in the United States obtaining over 70% of the world's gold supply. Germany had invaded numerous countries and taken their gold. When they were defeated, their gold was confiscated by the United States. America found itself in a very strong bargaining position on the international scene. We've heard about the Golden Rule, not do unto others as you'd have them do unto you, but he who has the gold makes the rules. How did this current monetary order come to be? The Bretton Woods Conference, formerly known as the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference, was held in July of 1944 at the Mount Washington Hotel in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. This conference was a gathering of 730 delegates from 44 allied nations, aimed at regulating the international monetary and financial order after the conclusion of World War II. Two key outcomes from the Bretton Woods Conference were the establishment of the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, and the establishment of a fixed exchange rate system. Since the US had over 70% of the world's gold supply, they would have the most important role in the new financial world order. The conference established a fixed exchange system, or fixed exchange rates, where currencies were pegged to the US dollar, which in turn was convertible into gold at a fixed rate of $35 per ounce. This system was intended to provide stability in international economic relations and prevent competitive devaluations of currencies. Now fast forward to the late 1960s. America is engaged in an international battle against communism, and they've entered the Vietnam War. And the rest of the world begins to wonder and notice that America seems to be printing more money than the gold reserves that they have. Because remember, during this time, America had 70-80% of the world's gold. And even when other countries purchased gold, they stored it in America. They stored it in New York. And it was just a entry in a ledger that was changed. As the rest of the world became suspicious of the amount of money America was printing, France decided to ask for their gold. America told them, "Your gold is safe. We checked the ledger." France said, "We trust you, but we're sending a Navy vessel to pick up our gold." And this is how the dollar was unlinked from gold. America was trusted by the rest of the world to be the foundation of the global economy. When faced with the French vessel en route to pick up their gold, America broke the trust of the world and unlinked the dollar, which was the global reserve currency, from the asset that gave it value. We've stopped asking questions. Asking questions is the beginning of wisdom. We just accept what we're told. We accept what the media tells us. We accept what the universities tell us. We accept what the government tells us. We see the system is broken. We see our institutions failing us. We see our healthcare system trying to kill us. We see our food supply designed to poison us with toxic chemicals. We see it all falling apart, but we don't ask why. We're conditioned not to ask why. We don't question the experts or the media. Bitcoin questions the system and the thing that makes it operate: finance, money. Bitcoin exposes the deception. Bitcoin exposes the theft. Bitcoin exposes the culprits and their methods. Bitcoin refuses to obey the kings of the earth. Bitcoin transcends its status as a mere currency to embody profound philosophical concepts. It's the intersection of technology, economics, and philosophy. Bitcoin is a manifestation of energy, a transformation of human labor into a preserved value meticulously encoded within the fabric of cyberspace. Bitcoin is property. The introduction of scarcity into the digital realm fundamentally alters our understanding of cyberspace. Prior to Bitcoin, the digital realm was a boundless and infinitely replicable space. Bitcoin changed this, as the creation of new Bitcoin requires the expenditure of real-world resources in the form of computational power, which requires electricity. Bitcoin's introduction of scarcity imposes constraints on the digital realm, imbuing it with a sense of scarcity akin to physical assets. The scarcity is not imposed by a central authority, but emerges organically from the decentralized network consensus mechanism. Bitcoin is code, and code is law. Societies are built on laws. They serve as the foundational framework upon which communities are built and governed. These laws dictate behavior, establish rights and responsibilities, and provide a structure necessary for cohesive social organization. Yet behind these laws often stand rulers, individuals or institutions vested with authority to enforce and interpret the laws. Bitcoin is different. Bitcoin disrupts this paradigm completely by embodying rules without rulers. Its code serves as the ultimate arbiter of behavior within the Bitcoin network, dictating the rules of engagement and the parameters within which transactions occur. This decentralization of authority challenges traditional notions of governance, where power is concentrated in the hands of a select few. In the realm of Bitcoin, there are no rulers to dictate or enforce rules. Instead, the network operates according to consensus mechanisms encoded within the protocol. Transactions are validated through an elegant system, distributed network of nodes, each adhering to the same set of rules, without the need for centralized oversight or any intervention. Bitcoin is energy. Through proof of work, Bitcoin captures energy from the universe and encapsulates it within a digital framework. In this process, the laborious computations undertaken by miners serve as a conduit for the conversion of human effort into a form of stored energy, a digital embodiment of the work expended. Simply put, Bitcoin acts as a conduit, converting the ephemeral energy of human labor into a tangible form of value, preserved and perpetuated through the mechanism of scarcity. And it's this preservation of value. It's not arbitrary. It's inherent to the fabric of Bitcoin's design. Scarcity is meticulously enforced through the algorithmic constraints of the protocol. Bitcoin's preservation of value through scarcity invites philosophical reflection on the nature of value itself. In traditional economic systems, value is subject to fluctuations, which are influenced by all kinds of factors, including human perception, human intervention, market dynamics. Bitcoin's scarcity serves as a bulwark against these fluctuations, anchoring its value to the immutable laws of mathematics and the finite resources of the universe. Bitcoin is an ark. Bitcoin bears striking parallels to Noah's Ark as an ark of salvation from inflation. Just as Noah's Ark was a tool of salvation in a time of cataclysmic flooding, Bitcoin serves as a safeguard against the erosion of wealth caused by inflation and the coming hyperinflationary monetary apocalypse. However, like Noah's Ark, Bitcoin faces skepticism and ridicule from those who fail to see the impending danger. In both cases, the need for salvation is not immediately apparent to everyone. Just as many people in Noah's time may have doubted the necessity of building an ark, many individuals today fail to recognize the threat posed by inflation to their financial well-being. This lack of awareness often leads Bitcoin to being dismissed or ridiculed as unnecessary or impractical. Moreover, understanding the value and utility of Bitcoin requires patience and an open mind. Just as it took time for Noah's neighbors to comprehend the gravity of the situation and the wisdom of Noah's actions, it takes time for individuals to grasp the underlying principles and potential of Bitcoin. Like Noah, patiently built the ark despite the mockery of others, Bitcoin advocates patiently educate and enlighten others about its benefits and importance in safeguarding their wealth. In essence, Bitcoin serves as a modern-day ark, offering salvation from the deluge of inflation and hyperinflation. However, like Noah's Ark, its true value may only be appreciated by those willing to see beyond the prevailing skepticism and take the time to understand its potential as a tool for financial preservation and prosperity. Jesus was the first Bitcoiner. Jesus, often revered for his teachings of love and compassion, can be seen through a unique lens as the first Bitcoiner, particularly when considering his actions and messages regarding money and power. One of the most poignant examples is his dramatic overturning of the tables of the money changers in the temple, an act that ultimately led to his crucifixion. In overturning the tables of the money changers, Jesus was not merely expressing frustration at a local practice. He was symbolically rebuking the entire system of financial exploitation and corruption. His actions were a condemnation of those who use their positions of power to deceive and exploit others for personal gain, a sentiment that resonates throughout history to the present day. Jesus' words and actions can be interpreted as a timeless critique of the banking and financial systems that manipulate and exploit humanity. His rebuke of the money changers can be seen as a condemnation of the deceit and theft perpetuated by modern-day central bankers through practices like inflation and fractional reserve lending. Moreover, Jesus' teachings suggest a desire to separate the realms of spirituality and finance, advocating for a separation of church and state, and by extension, money and state. In this regard, Bitcoin emerges as a manifestation of Jesus' vision, as it represents a decentralized form of currency that operates independently of government control and manipulation. By embracing Bitcoin, individuals are participating in a movement to separate money from the influence of centralized authorities, just as Jesus sought to separate the temple from the influence of the corrupt money changers. In this sense, Jesus can be viewed as a prophetic figure who foreshadowed the rise of Bitcoin and advocated for the elimination of gatekeepers. The narrative surrounding fiat money and Bitcoin draws stark contrasts between instability and stability, deception and transparency, manipulation and empowerment. The current monetary system based on fiat currency is inherently flawed and deceitful, constructed on a foundation as unstable as sand. It thrives on the exploitation and manipulation of human effort and faith, subjugating society to the whims of those in power through deceptive economic practices. Do not conform to the patterns of this world, the Apostle Paul tells us. The pattern of this world is the deception and theft on which society is built. We have been programmed into this deception through the most fundamental layer of our society, our money. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, continues the verse. Embracing transparency and truth is the way we can transform our minds, reprogram ourselves based on divine truths. Against this backdrop, Bitcoin emerges not merely as an alternative form of currency, but as a revolutionary ideology that challenges the core of this corrupt system. It advocates for a return to a more stable foundation, akin to building a house on solid rock. With its decentralized nature, immutable code, and reliance on the fundamental laws of mathematics, Bitcoin offers us a beacon of hope. It embodies the principles of true ownership, transparency, and independence from the manipulative tactics of centralized authorities. The adoption of Bitcoin heralds a new era of financial sovereignty and integrity. It prompts a reevaluation of what constitutes true value and stability in an economy. By embracing Bitcoin, society can move towards a more equitable and just system, where value is defined by scarcity and secured by the immutable laws of the digital realm, not by the arbitrary decisions of policymakers or of the printing presses of central banks. Thank you for listening. Stay tuned. In future episodes, we'll be taking a closer look at the money changers in the temple and try to understand why Jesus reacted the way he did. We'll also take a look at some of the more esoteric implications of Bitcoin's arrival on the scene at this moment in history.